All right, check it out. Welcome to your Magic Moon message. It's all windy. Moon in Pisces, Sun in Cancer. This is like a mini game-changing shift right here, but I'm not gonna call it a game changer. The perspective around your psychic potential, your psychic awareness, the belief around your depth of character, completely changing. So there's before this and there's after this. After this is in a day and a half from now when the moon goes into Aries. So the moon is making a 240 to 270 degree angle to the sun in Cancer. This is harvesting the mutable effects and experience of power, psychic power, we're harvesting. All right? Cardinal fixed mutable. You press the on button, power is generated to a fan. The power forces, cardinal sign, the fan to produce a fixed mechanism. Fixed sign. What's the fixed mechanism for the sign? The fan moves around. The reason why we call that a fixed mechanism is because it's moving around fixed in place. It's not doing anything other than that. Now, here's the magic. Here's where the magic happens. And it's crazy how we wouldn't call this magic, but that's what it is. What is the effect of this fixed mechanism? What is produced when these fan blades go round and round and round? Wind. It produces basic wind magic. All right? Humanity has developed technology that can create basic wind magic. And you can buy it for a few bucks. Okay? So that fixed mechanism of the fan blades produce wind. That is the effect of powering on your fan. So we understood the power in Capricorn. We then charged the electricity in Aquarius, and we're producing the divine effect in Pisces. This divine effect is the final effect in the process of perception, thinking in Gemini, analyzing in Virgo, interpreting meaning in Sag, and then believing in Pisces. So we know that your beliefs are changing. Why are your beliefs changing? Which is even more important because Gemini answers the question what, Virgo answers the question how, Sagittarius shows you what it means, and Pisces answers the question why. Which is why you should never ask why. And if you're around Pisces, they're gonna want you to ask why. Don't ask why. And don't mind when they give you that mischievous smirk. Pisces is always wanting to answer the question why. That's a 30-minute conversation. You're gonna get nowhere. Don't give them what they want, okay? I don't even ask the question why anymore. Once I learned that the Pisces is always the reason why, and Virgo is always how, I stopped asking why, because you will get an answer. As tempting as that question is, stop asking why. Stop asking why. You won't even like the answer you get, and it won't make sense. So with that being said, okay, Pisces answers the question why. We're harvesting a collective understanding because Capricorn is universal, Sag is universal, Aqua is universal, Pisces is universal, and that goes back to individuality. Just like Pisces representing age 70 to death goes back to Aries, which represents 0 to 2, and how an old person is not that dissimilar from a baby, except one has a whole life's worth of experience and the other is just getting out this bitch. Excuse my language, I just wanted to be funny. But like, yes, it's just getting into the world. Okay, so with that being said, there is a final perspective you are understanding that will change your beliefs around who you feel you are. And that's because you're harvesting psychic powers at a God universal level. So the moon Capricorn, moon Aqua, moon Pisces is a universal understanding of your individual Cancer Sun psychic awareness. It's literally like feeling vibrations all around the world, and now integrating how you feel about yourself, kind of like a collective firmware update that everyone has to download. But the way you download it and the phone you download it in isn't going to be the same phone someone else might download it in. Try to use an analogy right there. So we know that Pluto in Aquarius is awakening the force, and since January, where we had the 29-degree Pluto-Sun conjunction, you're integrating how you feel about harnessing supernatural power and energy. And with Uranus and Taurus innovating technology and currency, this is shifting you away a materialist, reductionist philosophy that has blinded literally the world to soul. Trying to convince people that physical tools can measure the metaphysical, which is hilarious. So you're coming into a real-time experience of abilities you have been awakening since 2020 and are currently harvesting now. The science for that is Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. Saturn concluding a 30-year cycle since the 90s, 95 to be exact, and Neptune since the 1800s. Dred Scott decision, if you need context. All right. So does the last time these planets were here take into account the advent of scientific principles through the Enlightenment eras and also cultural revolutions from, of course, civil rights, even through the hippie generation? And now we're here in the 2020s. So the reason why, which is crazy, you know what I'm saying? This lady right here, very kind and politely, gave me a nod. And the last time Neptune was in Pisces, she would either call me a filthy nigger or she would be helping me at her own detriment against racism. All right. Fast forward to now where racism is so watered down that I almost wish we had it like in the 60s so that we would feel like motivated more. And I'm not saying I wish we had racism. I'm just saying we could be a little bit more racist. But that being said, let me not take this for granted. That being said, taking into account all these cycles, right? My parents at some point were Biafran refugees who then, of course, eventually came to America. And I'm sure your parents have certain similar stories, whether they're from here or came from another country. So all this shit is going into the toilet, like it's done. A huge theme about people romanticizing the past is coming back up, not necessarily realizing the significance of, personally, how we're pivoting into a new era with a new generation. So all these things are going to influence what you believe moving forward, because you are coming into a divine ascended experience of the greater development of your potential. And this is going to be experienced by you experiencing these abilities, by you aligning the level of synchronization with your spirit and body, which will now actively change your beliefs. Because if you felt that you couldn't perform certain psychic abilities, well, you've done them over the past couple of days. And the moon and Aqua gave you knowledge of this, and now you're experiencing it. We're gonna do this again multiple times, just like breaking in new cycles. But this is a milestone transit because with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, this is wrapping a totality of beliefs you've been developing since 2008 when Saturn was in Virgo. And of course, since the 80s when Neptune was in Sag. Some of you watching weren't even born then. So just keep in mind with Neptune 29 degrees, there's a finality here. And all of this is to prepare you for the completion of this 270 degree angle of the moon in Aries to the sun in Cancer, where you're going to understand the identity and the raw, authentic nature of what you feel about yourself. All right? That's going to take these changing beliefs and it's going to shift you down a more authentic understanding of who you are, aligned with destiny. You can't make this up. So be very mindful of the realizations that will awake you to your true nature in a way that shifts how much more authentically you can feel who you are. This is especially rewarding for those of you who've received synchronicities and have actively, through your actions, stepped into experiences that allude to facets of yourself that may be more than you were labeled as, that may be more than you understood, that may be more, oh my God, than your current language, than your current lexicon can make sense of. Many of you never really had the words or the context to make sense of these things. And this is going to prepare to shift this considerably, bringing us to the square. That's so adorable. Bringing us to the square to Jupiter and Gemini, that now, in light of expanding our vocabulary and mindset and applying evolved mindsets, we are shifting our beliefs. We're understanding how our beliefs, since this ingress of Jupiter and Gemini, has to align with these expanding thoughts. Now, it's up to you to focus on demon-possessed fools and WLBs and SLBs. Most people, or I'm not going to say most people, I'm going to generalize most, or at least whoever this applies to, it applies to. But it's really just coming down to who can handle this intensity and extremity. A lot of what you're seeing as far as people lashing out more, or people just being more fucking stupid, is really just down to their inability to have worked on their shadow and just project the crumbling of their beliefs on other people. And that's the thing. We're not different in that we're better than other people. Our beliefs crumbled like their beliefs crumbled. We just looked inside, adapted, and aligned to the truth we were revealed, where other people decided to just be in denial and take their anger out on other people, because that's what it means to be a weak, stupid little bitch. And thankfully, these people have served to remind you of how much you have grown, by how much you don't stoop down to their level, because they're ultimately really just puppets of this vibration of, I don't want to say darkness, but pettiness, or whatever you want to call it, because it's not just one thing. I'm just using this as a way to give a visual. But this is where your development, this is where your interactions with other people take a sharp turn. As you're getting ready to unlock facets of yourself you may be introduced to for the first time, even if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s. So enjoy this. This is the harvest here. So there's nothing you have to do. We did that 2 weeks ago when we sowed the seeds. That required watering, really activating new mindsets. If you practice the law of assumption, really, you know what I'm saying, hammering home new thoughts. Then when we had to integrate, which was to implement some strategy and consistency and commitment through Virgo. And now we're harvesting. This is where you see, okay, our crops are growing. Through the Aquarius, we knew the quality of what we're harvesting. And now this is the experience. The moon Pisces is going to help you experience before completion. So all you have to do is just literally experience, be present. You can take advantage of this by imagining what you're harvesting, imagining what it is you wish to step into. Pisces grants wishes. And a lot of this is going to break you through a lot of gaslighting, or let's just say, because many of you have been gaslighted when it comes to scientific potential by people who will flex higher education and ethos using terminology and rhetoric to sound smarter than they are, but they really don't know what they're talking about. You can hear this in their logic, which isn't sound, but they're going to take advantage of you not being as well versed or educated in a certain field to talk about another field they don't know about. I swear to God, it's hilarious. And you're going to come in a direct experience of this to make sense of it in your own way. So don't rush yourself, because we still have more cycles to complete. But as this will change the way, and this is as simple as like people realizing they have to apologize to their conspiracy theorist friends. And you know that's never going to happen. So with that being said, I'm totally not joking. So with the sextile to Mars and Uranus in Taurus, there's tangibility based off this perspective that's shifting. You can act off immediately in order to come into real results. So you're going to be experiencing the work you've put in. This is going to shift your beliefs, because you're going to be experiencing now the metaphysical nature of Pisces of imagination through your feelings, seeing the unseen, not through physical senses, but through your psychic senses. Enjoy, my friends. We still ride at dawn. Y'all stay blessed as always. Peace.